Here we have Ascending Baseline and Complexity for you in another pool play match here. I'm joined by Dave Walsh himself. And we're excited for this tournament, kicking it off with a couple of teams that maybe we don't predict to go pretty far into the bracket, but these are big matches in pool play to determine how far will their potential take them. Because first things first, Dave, you need to make it out of pool play, and I think both of these two teams could find themselves with a very quick weekend if they don't perform well here.
Yeah, I think pool play in some ways tricks teams into thinking, all right, we got some room for error, we got an easier Friday, or we got some, you got a little room to play with. But the reality is, you don't have that much room for error. You need to still be winning the series you need to win, and you need to win the close matches. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in the elimination bracket or possibly out of the tournament.
Yeah, and so for both of these two teams, you already know that they're going to have some big dogs in their pool, so these matches are so crucial to their journey this weekend as well.
Yeah, anytime you have, essentially the 8 and the 9 seed playing each other, you need to win that matchup. Anytime you are essentially tied in seed or very close in seed, those are the ones that, hey, these are the coin tosses when it comes to on-paper performances, and you need to perform.
Yeah, because if you don't win this series, well, surely you're not beating FaZe, we'd like to think. And then the open bracket team's really the only other realistic chance you have of getting a series win. So this one, crucial. Right now, looks like Complexity off to a hot start. I love this new Complexity lineup. They bring Rayne back, obviously, bringing Breakingshot in. A young, talented player right now. You know RyaNoob's throughout his career, he's found so many different hidden talents, hidden gems. Is Breakingshot going to be one of those for this Complexity roster? We're going to find out, but they have now taken the lead. The trip cap not in effect anymore, but a 32-27 lead and continuing to climb here on Interference Strongholds.
Yeah, but Ascending Baseline able to stop the bleeding. They get control of C and just battling over that overshield. Looks like Breakingshot going to grab that OS and control. Still in the hands of Complexity.
Yeah, perfectly timed slays there for Complexity. Not only keeps their control, but it gets them that overshield. And on Interference Strongholds, when you get that overshield with 4 dead paired with it, it can often snowball. Breakingshot picks up a massive double there in the kill feed, as well as going down, but a lot of pressure and damage from the kid early.
Also, just watching from Breakingshot's POV there, those last battles, every single little corner he's just jumping up against. He knows where a pipe is. He knows where he can just slightly offset his head height as players are trying to get that final shot in him. So it's just really impressive movement all around. And that's what you're looking for when you bring on these newer or younger guns. You're like, I want someone who's going to hit their shots and someone who is just going to be eager to play all the time and someone who knows just these small individual details. And that's where you bring in the veterans to come teach them the team play. When it comes to communication, the overall macro picture on how to play the game, you really aren't able to learn that until you join a top team or play with some top players to really show you, open your eyes and really teach you the bigger picture.
Yeah, you can't teach the individual skill. You got to have that as a base to work around. And right now, Breakingshot at 7-2-6, leading the way for the Slays in Complexity. 82-38 now, still in control of Complexity, and I love this route by Rayne.
I like that too. I didn't know about that exact ledge there to jump up, so great route by Rayne. Not having to take super long to jump out as exposed over towards overshield, just gets that flank over near Whitehall.
And it's perfectly timed as well. So the long haul players are coming through. They're able to get a couple of kills, but since then, Complexity's gone all 4 down. You're seeing Ascending Baseline now start to get their first real control since early stages of this game. It's a trip cap now in effect, and they will start to make up this 50-point deficit very quickly if they can get around a Slay.
Yeah, and Sunriz trying to still do some damage over here, but pressure being met over at the Carbine. You knew that players are going to be spawning over near that elbow side. It's just they had too much pressure across the map. They have a trip cap, and there's limited spots they can spawn.
Hopping on board with Sunriz, and something we were talking about coming into this series, we don't know a ton about this Ascending Baseline roster. I think we've all heard of Mose. He's been in the European scene for quite a while now, but the rest of this team seems to be a bunch of maybe potential up-and-comers in the Infinite scene, a bunch of young players we would assume. And let's see what they can bring. This Complexity roster full of veterans now starting to keep up in the Slays category is a great start. 3 of them tied at 9. They are currently neck and neck in kills with Complexity, and that's a good sign to start this series off because I would assume that they are heavy underdogs coming into this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it just used to always feel that the top European squads could start to hang with, maybe let's say the 8 through 12 range of the top US squads, but that has flipped over these last few years somehow. the individual skill level of these top European players has skyrocketed. So all of a sudden, you have players like Sunriz, like Mose, all these people that can hang and in fact are outslaying these other players on the Complexity roster.
Right, guys that have been there, done that, and have a couple of championships as well. RyaNoob, a player to speak of. We know the success he's had across so many different titles, and this is a new squad for him. It is 130 now to 108, ascending baseline with the control that they were able to gain. They were able to take the lead, actually. Now Complexity finally have 2 strongholds in their favor, but we'll see how long that lasts because they have Rayne going down, and it does look like ascending baseline are going to be able to transfer over C. However, it looks like Complexity has their eyes set on A.
Yeah, the ascending baseline trip cap just went by so quick. I felt like they were down by about 70 points, and before you knew it, they were up by 30. So we're going to have to see how ascending baseline does now that they're just holding this double cap, because we know Complexity, they showcased that basically the first 3 or 4 minutes of this game. They kind of held double cap, they got a temporary trip cap, but just kind of held control overall to get their 100 points.
Yeah, I think when you see interference strongholds specifically, you'll see a lot of trip caps and how teams tend to rotate between these strongholds so quickly because of the map size. It's very condensed. And if you're able to collapse on respawners, you will see that trip cap effect in for maybe a minute and a half of time, and that results into so many points. Look at it now, 178, 180, and climbing, ascending baseline, taking control again.
Well, look at this. All of them flooding in towards the bunker side of the map. They are not hesitating. They're not trying to spread out and do a perfect setup and everyone play the role. They're saying, all right, we heard they spawned bunker. Everyone collapse on bunker, get those kills. And then they start to fly on over towards C. And just because of that, they got about another 60 or 70 points throughout that setup.
And this is a map that can be so punishing. You're seeing it here. Players getting split spawned across. So it's a 4-on-2 here over at the tower. Huss goes down, Breakingshot goes down, the pressure is on, and when you're trading in these situations where you have control, that is a win. 220 now and climbing, just 30 points for ascending baseline to steal game 1.
Yeah, we're going to have to see how Sunriz decides to play this one, realizing defense is maybe the best offense. Catches Huss overextending into A, and now the push is going to come out of here by Sunriz and crew. They realize they can take up a little bit more ground. They realize the furthest one out from Complexity has been killed, and look at this, BastosS putting on pressure over towards C. So even if Complexity can get over towards B or towards bunker side, they still got to worry about this C cap. I don't know how they break out of this.
This game is going to be over. Complexity nowhere near a stronghold. They are able to get into A as they transfer over B. So in a moment, Complexity, for the moment I should say, they have stopped the counting for ascending baseline. But right now, 3 of Complexity members go down. Huss, the last player alive, he's spotted an A, doing everything he can, but there's too many players to deal with. Huss goes down. Ascend baseline, take the AC setup, and Breakingshot not able to get his feet in, coming off respawn. Ascend baseline will take game 1 against Complexity in pretty dominant fashion.
Very dominant fashion, especially considering that Complexity got off to a 100-30 lead, up by 70 points and just getting absolutely crushed towards the end. So huge plays there by ascending baseline. We're going to have to see what they can do in game number 2, but the old era is not here anymore. EU has come to play, and there is not as much of this big individual skill gap or team skill gap that we used to see years ago.
Yeah, you can even see a little bit of disrespect as far as how aggressive we saw ascend baseline on there. They didn't seem intimidated by any of the plays that they were making. They truly feel like they were going to win that game from that trip cap in about halfway when they were down 70 points, about 120, 130. Ever since that point, they were aggressive. They were constantly applying pressure, constantly figuring out ways to trade, at least in an advantageous position. And when you have that like recipe for success against some guys that have some intimidating names, Rayne, RyaNoob, even Huss has been around placing in the top 8, the top 12 for a little bit now. It doesn't seem like that phases ascending baseline at all, at least here in game 1.
Yeah, so fantastic performance out of ascending baseline. We're going to have to see what they can do in game number 2, and we'll be right back.
All right, back in action, game 2 underway. And we're on board with Sunriz, a player that really impressed us, honestly, for my first time to be able to watch his point of view there in game 1. We'll see if they can keep up the momentum. Right now, Complexity looking like they put a lot of pressure towards the shotgun. Millsy is going to have the red gun and find a couple of kills on the side of ascending baseline to tie this game up. Camo's popping in 5 seconds, but good control so far for ascend baseline here to set up for this camo.
Yeah, even trades. Let's see who has the better position. That's going to be Breakingshot. I doubt the burn happened there. It seemed pretty quick. We're going to have to see everyone collapse in towards the bench. And there is the camo pickup for Millsy. Millsy's got the stalker rifle, the repulsor, spike grenades, and a battle rifle. Oh, no, a bandit.
A bandit.
A bandit.
Ton to work with, and this camouflage and red gun can be so lethal if he's able to find players not looking. But that brute grenade is a great way to kick open the door of this passive setup from Complexity right now. RyaNoob tries to hit an insta right there, but because the insta misses, he dies for free. And right now, this momentum from game 1 seems to be finding its way into game 2, because a 9-6 lead, even though you got the power, it looks like you have Complexity on their back feet.
Yeah, you and I were talking on the side in between these games. We were saying, you know what? Yeah, Rig, Strongholds can be a very snowball-y game. You can get a big lead, things go your way. And you should generally be able to slow down Slayer. Unfortunately, though, Street Slayer can be a bit quicker. Streets is one that you can go back and forth. So if Complexity were looking for something a little bit slower and a little bit more breathing room, they are not getting it right now.
Not until game 3, potentially. But right now, Ascend Baseline looking to push the pedal to the metal here with this pace so far, up 13-9, and that's with Huss starting at 7-0-3. He's got to be the only reason the Complexity are still in this Slayer.
Yeah, this would just be an absolute landslide right now if it wasn't for Huss, and that can be, it can be confidence building. Also can be demoralizing when you're in something like Huss's position. You get a killing spree, you're like, I got a killing spree, and we're still down by 5. Come on, boys.
Always a bad feeling because you're wondering how long can I keep this up. I need you guys to find your foot in this series. Right now, still just a 5-kill game, so not too much of a deficit here.
5-kill game thanks to Huss.
Yeah. Huss at 8-0-4, still keeping up the pace for now, but as the rest of Complexities tries to find some rhythm here, it's going to be Huss finding the 9th kill before anyone else on the map can go down, but that could be a great pick for Complexity to push off of. They've got 2 in their numbers. It does look like a couple of trades have come across the board, but that's all 4 down for Complexity. A beautiful set of shots there from Sunriz. Keep Ascend Baseline consistently in the lead, now up 7.
Yeah, and I liked what we saw from Complexity there. Even though it didn't go fully in their favor, they're saying, all right, these guys are charging us. Let's set up some traps. Let's sit towards top. See, let's get in power positions for a moment and let them come to us. You don't need to force the action right now against Ascend Baseline. When you have a team that is just all gas, no brakes, you get to just take the power positions. And that's what a Complexity needs to do. They also need to be spread out a little bit more. You can't just take power positions in one spot of the map. You need to be power positions that you can have crossfire across the map.
Huss finding his 12th kill at the game. At this point, he's on record for a 25 bomb if he keeps this up. 25-22, a 3-kill game, still in Ascend Baseline's favor for now. But they look like they're in a tough position here, Dave. All stuck in the back of PD, and here comes Complexity.
Yeah, and this is going to be Breakingshot on your screen right now. Turned just a little bit early, I believe, right there during that fight, assuming that Bulldog shot was going to get the finish. So clearly these players trying to min-max every little turn in the game. They're trying to get that finish and then turn to the next try.
Yeah, I thought that Bulldog shot was going to kill him, too.
That
Bulldog shot was insane by RyaNoob. Gets a very generous shot there as he finds the double, starting to pick up his pace as well. And right now, Ascend Baseline, the game's tied up. What was once a 7-kill lead is all of a sudden just about an even-killed game as Huss gets away with this camo. They need to find their footing once again because it looks like Complexity, once they've gained this control, Ascend Baseline has had a hard time dealing with it, but I say that. They find a couple of kills, 2 more players stuck in PD. Can they flush these players out without trading too many lives? The answer is yes, and they push the lead back to 5.
But somehow, even though it's a 5-kill game, you still got to say Complexity's still in this somehow. Despite Breakingshot having a rough one thus far, clearly getting a lot of assists and working with his teammates, but non-stop pressure coming out of Ascend Baseline, not giving Breakingshot or this Complexity roster really much of a comfortable moment in this game.
Yeah, not letting them breathe, not giving them a minute to catch their breath is a big factor to what appears to be Ascend Baseline's opportunity in this series. 39-34 here. Sunriz jiggle peeking over this Flowers position, trying to make sure these nades don't take too much damage from him. Able to play his life, and I like that. He doesn't commit to the fight. He sees that his teammates are fighting elsewhere on the map. Can he rotate to potentially help his team trade these kills out? The answer is yes. He finds Rayne running away, no shield, and extends the lead back to 5.
Yeah, and I think Sunriz played that so well for a couple reasons. One, like you said, did not commit to the fight. Secondly, decides just to move on over the opposite side of the map. As soon as you reveal yourself in one location, those players over on the B Street side are focused on you. You can keep their focus still on you as you rotate on over towards Neon, towards Cafe, and help the other side of the map.
He basically turns a 1v2 into a 3v1 on the other side of the map.
Like you said, exactly. On the B side of the map, it's basically a 2v2 because they assume that player's still there. But all the way over on Neon and Cafe side, it's all of a sudden a 3v2 in favor. So he's kind of a two-man job across the map.
All of a sudden, it's an 8-kill, make it a 9-kill game, and only 3 to go for a Sim Baseline to take a 2-0 lead here in this series. RyaNoob, not to know, shield cleaned up by his teammate BastosS. And right now, we haven't even mentioned his name, but BastosS is 19-5-11. He's pulling a Huss, but in a greater fashion at this point. He's got the teammates around him to help him push this limit towards 50. One more kill to go, and Mose is going to find the double, and a Sim Baseline are going to go up 2-0 on this Complexity roster.
I mean, for your first match of the day, you got to wake up, and this is Complexity just getting rolled right now. Ascending Baseline playing so incredibly well. Complexity probably going in. You know, I saw them warming up over there. They looked hot. They looked fine during warm-up, but you cannot come in cold, and you cannot underestimate a team like this.
No, not at all, especially not with the way scrims have been going online for Complexity coming into this tournament. Against any of the notable top teams in North America, Complexity has been struggling. You had to think for them to find any sort of momentum, it was probably good that they didn't have to see one of those top teams early in the tournament. They got to see the third-ranked team over in Europe, and that's where you think maybe we can find something to build off of for this weekend. But so far, it has been all a Sim Baseline. Now that they take the series up 2-0, Complexity, you have dug the ultimate hole for yourself here in this series and potentially in this tournament if you are to get 3-0'd here in this series.
Yeah, Complexity have their work cut out for them in this series, in this tournament. Can they do it? We'll be back soon with game number 3.
All right, here we go. Game 3, BastosS on screen, the man of the hour in game 2. And apparently he grabs the snipe for this team, so maybe we're going to learn a thing or two about this kid and how individually talented he is. But he goes immediately down without even getting a chance to shoot that sniper. And, Dave, we were talking about it as this flag is being pulled, that this is probably the map mode combination that Complexity needed to see if they want this series to go a little bit longer.
Well, yeah, it gives them a little bit longer of a game type. Secondly, on Empyrean, it's similar to something like Recharge, where a lot of your flanks and moves have to be very well thought out and methodical as you're going across the map. You can't just fly across the map like you can on something like Streets. Not saying that this guarantees to favor Complexity, but it is at least a change of pace. And if you're someone like Complexity, you're looking for a change of pace as you get your first cap in for this game with only 6 kills on the board.
Yeah, if you want to turn this series around, that is how you start game 3. A cap in the first minute is exactly what the doctor ordered for Complexity here. The issue is 3 go down as they cap that flag, so is there a counter cap potential here? As that's a massive kill on the Mose that Rayne's able to pick up. Almost picks up the double onto Sunriz as well. Sunriz is going to be able to stay alive, so Complexity still have work to do coming off respawn.
But at least they have the side of the map they need. They got Rayne spawning over in the courtyard. Get to do some damage here, but we're in this tricky scenario here, which you know RyaNoob and Complexity are comfortable with. They are happy to go trade for trade on flag grabs and get into this chaotic position.
Yeah, and Sunriz is going to have to drop this because the flag's already on his side of the map. He sees 2 of his teammates go down, make it 3 go down now. That flag going to for sure get put in. You'd have to think it's up to Millsy to try and stop it. Millsy doing everything he can, but as he's distracted by RyaNoob and the chaos happening in training, the cap gets put in as the return gets taken. And it's a 2-0 lead now for Complexity. That was a beautiful job of coming off respawn and overextending, and Ascend Baseline clearly struggled with that strategy.
And also when I look at slays across the board, our Ascend Baseline actually ahead in slays, and yet we have 2 caps from Complexity. It's basically even or ahead in slays for Ascend Baseline. But 2 caps for Complexity because they did that during crazy situations. We did have a answer or, recovery cap right there from Ascend Baseline. Somehow after they got that second cap on, Ascend Baseline run that one through green/hall, at least getting an answer there. And trying to go for a dub cap, but not going to happen as BastosS is taken out. But
I was about to say, all this chaos is happening in Sword, and flags are being run multiple times. You saw a cap happen, and all this combat that was going on in Sword had nothing to do with the objective. Players kind of out of position there for Complexity as Ascend Baseline were able to get one and another one on the move. It does eventually get stopped, and it looks like they have control with the numbers advantage here. Snipes are coming up And great teamwork to keep Huss alive here will allow Complexity a chance to pull a flag. 3 down. Sunriz actually coming off spawn right now, and they can get this flag to the training. This game could be over quick.
Interesting. They side throw on this one under bridge. Huss takes a pause for a moment. Mose actually under bridge. Must have been the only person that was out there from the Ascend baseline roster. And this flag is moving towards training. And based on the slays, I don't know if anyone from Ascend baseline can get in position.
Now this
especially with BastosS getting picked off there.
This one's going to be over. I think Mose actually got an under bridge spawn right there. It doesn't matter though. Complexity able to punch that flag in, and we thought that was going to be a long game. We thought wrong. Flags were on the move constantly, and Complexity fight back and answer in this series, now just down 1-2.
Yeah, that was such a quick one, and we're going to have to see how this goes going into game number 4, Recharge Oddball. I thought no matter what, this game was just going to be a longer game. And I guess I'm wrong in every single call here thus far, Wes.
It's tough to make. I mean, that's the thing when it's like casting some of these teams we know so little about. Complexity we know a little more about. They've been playing in the online scrims. Sometimes they're streaming. Sometimes teams that are playing against them are streaming. So you can get a good base for them. But we have never get a chance to see a team like Ascend baseline play. So the surprises, the tendencies they have, truly something we're witnessing for the first time. And Mose going 10-7-1, the most positive player for Ascend baseline. But, I mean, that game went by so quick. That may have been the fastest Empyrean CTF we've seen in tournament play in quite a while.
Wouldn't surprise me. Out of pool play and pro bracket-wise, I don't know if we've seen a quicker one that's had 4 captures like that. But, you know, we're going to have to see how the rest of the series plays. Game 4 and potential Game 5 would be Recharge Oddball and Live Fire Slayer. If you're looking at how these games have gone thus far, when it comes to the map layouts and how quickly you can charge across the map, and if you take more calm and calculated routes, Recharge Oddball is going to be more similar to Empyrean CTF, where you have to take those more calculated routes. However, Live Fire Slayer, you can go flying, you can go soaring if you need to.
It can be a toss-up. If you get the power weapons, you can kind of post up with snipe and turn it into a stalemate. So I believe we'll settle this on Live Fire as well.
I think so, yeah.
We'll have Game 4 coming up for you in an oddball game. That Complexity has a must-win if they want to stay in this series. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Back for Game 4, and we want some more, so what can Complexity do to push this to a Game 5 right now? Breakingshot trying to push into the top tower. He gets double naded right out. It's a 2-2 split. However, Ascend baseline do go 3 down momentarily, so it looks like Complexity will take their momentum from Game 3 and win the opening break.
Yeah, and although I did say that these maps play a little, similar style as far as longer routes, this one can go either way. To be honest, I mean, Ascend baseline, they were looking so strong throughout the first 2 games that this very well could have been 3-0. And I was also thinking back on game number 3, sometimes just losing a quick game is sometimes better than losing that long, drawn-out game. Like, as far as momentum goes, like Ascend baseline, by no means are like kicking themselves, like, oh my gosh, can't believe we lost this overtime pit flag. Instead, they're saying, what happened there? We'll go back and watch that later, but let's just get into game number 4.
Yeah, it wasn't like Game 3 was a long, drawn-out game where you lost a ton of individual fights.
And slay-wise, they were doing just fine.
Looks like we are going to have to reset the game. We have a member of Complexity that's no longer with us in the server, I should say. And as Breakingshot continuing to keep his shot warm as they wait for the game to be ended. You saw early that Complexity got off to an early lead, and I'm starting to wonder, for a team like Ascend baseline, players that we don't know the history of their professional career, we'll call it, and it's probably because they're fairly young, I should say. A game type like Oddball, Dave, I feel like always favors veterans that have been around the Halo scene, that understand rotations at the highest level, setups at the highest level, all these different dynamics that play into it, rather than a Slayer or a Strongholds, where usually playing fast and winning your gunfights is the recipe for success.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and it's a 10-point lead for Complexity as the reset of the match for this Game 4. Complexity trying to push this series to a Game 5, and Breakingshot picking up a big kill here as he finds a second assist as well to get this camo control, and another setup for Complexity early in this game.
What an active start for Breakingshot, too, just charging all the way over towards top elevator. Flying all the way down to get camo, just getting so much shots, so much damage, shows how much freedom they have across the map right now.
Yeah, you're starting to see Complexity start to pick up the pace a little bit. and be able to compete with what a Sim Baseline was able to do in games 1 and 2. A good job to trade out Breakingshot right there from a Sim Baseline, but still work to do. You find yourselves down 28 points and climbing as they lose 2 members. Complexity setup will once again hold strong.
Rayne getting some cleanups across the map, taking out BastosS at the bottom of the stairs. That's 3 dead, and Mose is the only one alive. They're going to keep staggering these. Yes, they are. RyaNoob getting the second stick onto Mose in a row. Last 2 deaths from Mose. Sticky grenades.
RyaNoob can be so tricky with those stickies. And right now, 48-0 is where this setup will finally get broken as the ball gets played. Complexity do a good job to rotate that ball into blue to be able to neutralize it once their setup is gone. And the Sim Baseline, if they want to compete here in round 1, have a lot of catching up to do. Plenty of time to do it, but you need to find some slays as they still have players without a kill in Millsy and just 1 in Sunriz, 2 players that have been traditionally throughout the series obtaining a lot of kills, but it's a slow start here in game 4. Big kill from Mose.
That composure there as you're in that spot. Generally, you just start jumping and windmilling, and if I'm in that position at least, and trying to get as much damage as I can, but Mose somehow keeping it calm and collected, finishes off Rayne, gets 3 or 4 shots in a row.
And look at what that sparked. A setup now for a Sim Baseline, starting to chip away at the lead, the 48-point lead that was once Complexity's lead here in round 1, now cut in half because of a nice win from Mose that allows them to get a decent setup there and at least do some damage to this score differential.
BastosS going to somehow live with this camo, decides to bring it back in the pipes. Breakingshot and Complexity don't want it there, might as well bring it back into the pipes.
Good job by BastosS to find a teammate, get that teammate the ball, and he's going to start to run with this camo. A lot of information he's able to obtain here. As he doesn't see a single member of Complexity, that ball carrier knows he is safe to get this game closer and closer to being tied up.
I like this play. BastosS not seeing so many things from long haul for so long, decides to just rotate on over there. But here comes the big push. Shroud going to cover that cross-map fire there from a Sun baseline. That's going to be 2 members going down. That's not going to be a play ball. Can he get it out? Tosses, but is it too little, too late? Fighting for his life down here. Sunriz somehow winning like a 1v2, make it a 1v3.
Yeah, Sunriz does everything to stop Complexity from being able to get ball time there. And I wanted to talk about that Shroud for a moment that RyaNoob threw all the way from Catwalk. It actually one-ways the bottom of Red Stairs right there. That was a very cool little trick, cheeky Shroud. You're going to see more locations like that exposed as players continuously adapt and evolve their gameplay around some of this new equipment. And that was a very cool thing to see. As I say that, however, Sim Baseline will go down 3 players. Complexity trying to get this ball back in hand, but doing it the wrong way. Nobody with their gun up, focused on Mose, and Mose mowing them down. Finds 2 kills and an assist, a melee onto the 4th, and all 4 members of Complexity pretty much go down to Mose and Mose himself. And now you're seeing not only do they have a lead, they're rotating it to blue as well, so they're going to be able to play this ball after they take what I would say is a significant 20-point lead.
Heard of Mose part in the sea, but Mose picking apart Rayne here in this last engagement. They eventually get the play ball, but I was expecting a little bit more time from that. As soon as you get 3 or 4 down in a row like that, you expect to have a full setup, get 20 to 40 points, and instead it only amounted to about 12 points of time there.
Yeah,
so kills not translating to as much objective time as you would like.
They still did a great job to somehow go down 48-0 and now find themselves with a 13-point lead. RyaNoob with another stick to his name is going to be able to make this just a 10-point lead. Surely Complexity can get this tied up here as multiple members of a Sim Baseline are coming off respawn. And this first round is going to go down to the wire. A Sim Baseline will have 1 good push in them here coming off spawn.
And look at this assumption here from RyaNoob. Watches long haul for that extended period of time, and then instantly begins the rotation on over towards Turbine. Meets, I believe that's BastosS, gets the exchange 1 for 1, and the battle for the pipes begins.
Here comes Breakingshot, a flank from the bat wedge. It's Batman himself as he picks up the first 2, spots Mose for the triple.
Oh my God.
And then great flank pays off for Breakingshot as once again Complexity get ball in hand and need 15 points to close out round 1.
It feels like Breakingshot's just playing more comfortably. I felt like we were watching him in Streets or even in game number 1. It felt like he was just either forcing these weird situations, weird fights, and now we're watching this POV from Breakingshot. He's not hesitating. He's just going straight for the flank he knows, gets the last few seconds and the last few kills. Breakingshot helping Complexity win round number 1 here on Recharge Oddball.
A 14-2-7 round from Breakingshot gets Complexity across the finish line of round 1. And like you said, Dave, a young player on the come up. This is his first big chance, first series at a tournament. We noticed that there were tendencies that he was making earlier on in the series of giving up his life a little bit too easy, maybe not being as aware of as a player of his caliber we know him to be, that make those poor mistakes. But now it seems like he's finding his rhythm in this tournament and in this match specifically. 3 members of Complexity will go down, and RyaNoob hiding top elevator with this camo is so sneaky because no one on the sim baseline expects Ryan to be here. They have not accounted for him, and this setup is going to be a disaster because RyaNoob plays it perfectly. Finds the first kill, immediately drops down to take down the ball carrier for the double, and now Complexity once again will start to score.
Yeah, in a Ascend baseline, they knew camo was out in the hands of somebody from Complexity, but they were watching lines of sight. They weren't expecting him to already be inside the house, inside the elevator.
You gotta, when you know the enemy team has camo there, something you want to see from players in these situations is to play a lot tighter because you want to be able to trade that camo player out immediately. Unfortunately, a sim baseline, a lapse in judgment, a lapse in their setup, and it was broken wide open. 28-6 now. Complexity take the lead with an elevator setup still, and they're continuing to find kills with 3 going down on the sim baseline.
Yeah, Sunriz getting picked off there. Not sure exactly where he was supposed to go. Going to scrap a few more seconds of time, but it's going to be play ball time here soon for Complexity. The one thing they don't want is they do not want to give an elevator setup over to Ascend baseline. It's one of those setups that is strong and nice when you have it, but the second you lose it, it's like, wait, now they have the strong, nice setup.
They actually were able to break the setup, and even though RyaNoob throws it out bottom middle, a sim baseline does such a good job of while getting the slays, they're bringing the ball simultaneously back into the elevator. So a sim baseline do a phenomenal job of grabbing that play ball attempt from RyaNoob and bringing it straight back to have the elevator setup you saw Complexity try to avoid.
There it is, another play ball there. Sunriz, this ain't aim bot warm-up map. You have to reload, and gets caught off guard there by Rayne.
Good shots by Rayne there. It helped break this setup, and right now the ball being rotated to blue by Huss. Complexity have responded so well in each of these opportunities the sim baseline has had as setups so far throughout this second round. Because of it, they now find themselves up 30 points. They're going to get a play ball here from Huss prematurely as players are flooding onto him. He is able to get a stick and forces more members of a sim baseline to focus on his presence, and that was a phenomenal job by Huss to buy the rest of Complexity time to set up for this new play ball.
And I want to see at the end of the game, too, how many grenade kills are coming out from Complexity's side. I've seen at least 3 stick kills. But I want to see, actually, total grenade kills because it has been absurd just even seeing it in the kill feed.
Right now, ball being thrown up. Good teamwork from Complexity. Even
He's like, I'll just toss it right back out based on the amount of kills on the map, and there it goes.
Exactly. It's the thought that counts, and you can tell that they're on the same page. They are able to throw it out, and once again, a sim baseline there to pick up the tossed ball out into the middle of the map. They are on to Complexity's strategy of playing this ball out in the middle. They have always been there to catch it, and that's why this round isn't completely out of control right now. Still a 20-point game, but a sim baseline with ball in hand can make that deficit go away quickly.
That felt like an early play ball to me, but obviously Sunriz knows more info than myself because both his teammates, BastosS and Mose, taken out just right before that. So seems like a play ball right on time, but fell right into the hands of Breakingshot.
Yeah, unfortunately, a little bit of their own recipe. Complexity are able to catch that ball, bring it right back to the stairs. You could tell that when he played that ball, he knew his teammates were about to stop dropping. Unfortunately, a sim baseline went 4 down in that situation, and ever since then, Breakingshot has picked up that ball, rotated it towards long haul. He's going to end up playing it in this situation as they lose RyaNoob. They want to keep as many players alive as possible to contest a potential setup from a sim baseline, and they force a sim baseline to push into this long haul. It's a trap from Complexity as they get 2 down. The ball is going to be picked up, but Complexity will smell blood in the water right now as they're able to pressure that ball back blue. RyaNoob forces the play, and I love this play by Huss to just forget about those players back blue and relocate top glass.
Agreed. The one thing you don't want to get caught in is when the team has the ball all the way over there at Hydro. You don't want to bring everyone over there and have all the low spots on the map. Instead, get over towards glass, get over towards elevator, have some elevated positions, and you can't overcommit, but you also can't undercommit to that position. He did his job, did his part. RyaNoob got the play ball.
Yeah, absolutely. Good communication and understanding from Complexity there. 3 go down for a sim baseline. And with 13 points to go, Complexity look like they're going to push this series the distance if they're able to just find one more set of slays. Heavy pressure on the ball carrier, and you got to go on that bat wedge. You can't dance with Ryan for too long. He gets 2 different melees onto 2 different players, and that's going to solidify Complexity pushing this series to a Game 5.
That is tough for Ascend baseline. You started off so strong, won the first 2 games, and then Complexity. They got their rhythm. They got some modes that seem to favor them a little bit better. It isn't a question of whether they can shoot and whether they can hang with this team. It seems to be a question of what game types and game modes are favoring these squads. So we are going to have to find out who's going to be better in that game number 5, which is Live Fire Slayer.
And I think we briefly talked about it a little bit a while ago about how the 2 first maps played into a sim baseline's playstyle. The second 2 maps really played the strengths of Complexity's playstyle. Live Fire Slayer is a game type that can be played fast and slow, so I'll be very interested to see how these 2 different teams' strategies kind of balance against each other to see who can come out on top. We're getting a look at the grenade kills.
Yeah, this is the part I really wanted to see here, Wes. Now, we got 8 grenade kills in favor of Complexity there, and I mean, I saw at least 4 of those in the kill feed.
Yeah, RyaNoob getting his fair share, that's for sure. He was making work with those sticks. Good use of just scavenging for the sandbox, and those plasmas can be so dangerous and infinite if used correctly. Complexity creating so many opportunities with those nade kills, and that's not even those aren't even representative of damage that they did with grenades and then capitalized on. So
yeah, those are all the finishers with those. And I think one thing I'm starting to realize is Recharge, obviously, compared to some other maps, you must have smaller corridors, some more predictable movement,
doorways,
like pipes, doorways, and stuff, where you can just line up an easier stick your grenades. So maybe just being a bit more powerful compared to maybe a more open map like
Live Fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out on Live Fire here in a short bit. We are going to take a break before this Game 5, but we will be back for a Game 5 with Complexity and the Sim baseline here shortly. First Game 5 of the tournament, first series we get to cast, Dave. It's no surprise the players tend to show up when we're on the mics, and here we go. Complexity and Ascend baseline in Game 5. Well, BastosS is going to have the snipe in hand. Can't hit a couple of the snipe shots, but with this control, it is going to be a 2-2 split. As Camo's coming up, that's a big kill from Complexity to not only flush out this Camo side of the map, but to get snipe out of the Sim baseline's hands.
Everyone is focused on that window. They want to grab that sniper, want to get some control, and it is not slowing down. There's Breakingshot now finally with the Camo. Garage behind him, cleared and open for his teammate to grab, but Huss and Breakingshot both kind of stuck over here at the silo.
Yeah, interesting decision here for Breakingshot to make. He loses 2 teammates, so you don't want to try and make too much of a play here with Camo. He does spot a player that's no shield. He's able to get that kill. He gets spotted here, and he's going to get taken down. Tries to get some good damage on the Mose, but not the power-up use you really want with that camouflage, the power swing I was trying to say. Only 1 kill acquired, and you lost multiple members. This game's still tied up, and Complexity's kind of kicking themselves early on here, getting that first camo, but not able to transition it into a lead.
Also, just a little surprised as to what ended up happening with that sniper in the end. There's no way that fell off the map. It was stuck in that window. Was there a chance that it was lost information from the Complexity side? They didn't know where it was down in the garage and just kind of forgot about it?
Yeah, it doesn't look like it got into anyone's hands, and that could be due to the chaos that Game 5s tend to ensue. All the pressure, all the comms that are being stressed. Maybe the snipe went
I think it probably
unnoticed.
just despawned. Yeah, it was down in that pillar by the garage window. And the fact that we haven't heard any shots, haven't seen any kills in the kill feed makes me think that that one despawned, and Ascend baseline got to be thanking themselves for that one.
That was almost a disgusting insta right there from Ryan as he was no shield trying to make a play. Unfortunately, not able to hit the insta. I know you would have been proud of him if he had been able to pull that one off.
I mean, I was only doing it before with plasmas for the most part. That almost seemed like he was hitting off with some frags.
16-15 as Sim baseline take a 1-kill lead and give it right back to Ryan as a no-shield player peeks his head out. Ryan rips it right off. A big one-on-one from Millsy actually is going to interrupt that one-on-one and help Mose stay alive. Mose has started this Game 5 off on the right foot, 10-1-3 to kick this one off, giving a Sim baseline everything they need to stay into this game. Second camouflage of the game is coming up, and RyaNoob looks to have not only picked it up, but a couple of kills with it.
Here comes the spawns over at green, where they decide to go. I think this is the correct rotation. Actually, what a weird spawn. His team's getting all kind of split spawns. Unless Millsy was the last one alive, I couldn't tell if he spawned at green or what, but this is a tricky scenario. He's going to be in a 2-on-1. He's not going to get a kill here. That's going to be RyaNoob getting the finish. And RyaNoob, is that Camo?
Camo Quantum.
All right. A rare combo that we don't see very often.
Yeah, I honestly think the Quantum gives away a little bit of
like visibility.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
But
you might see some of those trails on you as much.
Camo just ran out for Ryan, but this Quantum's still continuing to do work. He tries
He's gonna try it again. He's going to do it again.
He tries
There
a
he goes.
cheeky little back smack, but he's somehow able to create some
back,
chaos.
go back.
and stay
Yes!
alive. All right, this is just ridiculous. Not your traditional Halo equipment the Quantum is, but man, can it create some exciting opportunities, and can it be such a headache to try and deal with? You saw how many different players tried to focus on RyaNoob there, but none of them able to have success right now. A 1-kill lead, and RyaNoob continuing to be a thorn in the side of a Sim baseline, still alive as he drops down back tower, gets his shield back, but this team is not in a position to help him. A Sim baseline will not only get those 2 kills back tower, but they have snipe in hand and tie this game up.
Yeah, and Mose still keeping that pace up. A lot of times you see a player or a star
Oh.
get up to a really strong start, and it's like, okay, they got that for a little bit, but they can't do that the whole time. But Mose still keeping up that pace, still at 14 kills now. But that's also not the greatest sign since you're down by 2. You want to see your teams go on big sprees and get big leads.
Yeah, you can't keep up that pace as an individual. It's so difficult to try and ask Mose to continue this slaying prowess. You need a Sin baselines, the rest of the boys, to step up if they want to win this game 5. The game is still actually in their favor as they take a 1-kill lead here, and it's because other people are starting to find those kills. Still far behind Mose, but as this third camo comes up, Dave, this could be the most crucial set of combat that goes down in this series that could decide the winning factor here, as this camo is such a highly contested area, and you know people are going to be losing their lives trying to compete for it.
Yeah, and Complexities came out both times thus far for the camo. Is it going to be 3 in a row? There's the deaths one more time. 3 down for Ascend baseline. BastosS getting shot down in the garage. Millsy's got his help. Camo still being
Good
contested.
shots. Big shots out of
Still
Breakingshot.
not
It's a
fired.
perfect 5, but that camo still neutralized, still on its location. Sunriz is going to actually respawn, hit top middle, win his one-on-one against Rayne. He gets cleaned up, but he's bought some time and some space for his teammates to maybe get this camo. The camo gets burned, however. Huss is here to play. Huss finds himself a triple and 1 shot away from an over. That player's going to be no shield, and here comes Complexity trying to capitalize on that damage. 1's in the bread. 2 for the money, and RyaNoob and the boys now have a 5-kill lead off that camo fight.
What a crazy exchange right there. First, I was going to say a delayed grab from Complexity might have cost him the camo. Turns out into Huss just taking the game in his hands. 4-kill lead going into these final moments. Long-range AR shots. Haven't seen that since Big Sauce to Halo 1.
Huss pulling out his Halo 1 tactics. He's a young kid, but maybe he knows a thing or two about old classic Halos, because this AR is starting to shred players to no shield. Even gets the job done on the BastosS, and now 48-41. Complexity 2 kills away from ending this series in a reverse sweep.
What was beginning to look like the start of a rough tournament here for Complexity, they turn around the series. Now 1 kill away from being able to wash their hands clean and say, all right, that was scary. Move on to the next one.
Wasn't that fun?
Yeah.
Wasn't that fun? Complexity get the job done. 50-43, and as much as Mose tried to carry a Sim baseline across the finish line there, just not enough gas in the tank, I should say, for them. And they'll have to go back to the drawing boards, because it never feels good to start a series off so hot and finish what felt like so cold.
Yeah, and I was going to say that one's got to be real tough for Ascending baseline. What I thought was going to be a quick 3-0 from them. It's very difficult to go back and review a series where it felt like individually at times you're just playing great or fantastic. It's easier to go back and say, all right, we're losing all these fights. This spawn's going wrong. We did this wrong. But instead they're saying, well, I was destroying during my fights. It felt like we made a lot of the right decisions, but we still fell short.
On the inverse, you're looking at Complexity, and you're thinking, I feel like this series to me told me a lot about Complexity. From they're going to have some weak map mode combinations just about in every series. These small, fast-paced maps, they have got to find better ways of finding success. The elongated maps, the ones with tons of space and maybe a bit more strategy and things that you can feel your rhythm out a little bit more. Complexity looked like a much different team. I'm talking Empyrean, CTF, and Recharge Oddball specifically. Two of the bigger maps we have allowed for their macro to really come into play, but the micro has got to be improved if Complexity want more success than just this series this weekend.